pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I think the first thing we need to do, because we're going to need a supermajority on the vote tonight, is to appoint one of the alternates. Johnny, I think last month you were appointed, so Ann would like to appoint you for tonight.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I guess the first thing we need to do is to get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from May 16th. Can I get a motion? And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Pass. Okay, next we have a public hearing. Basically, it's application number ZB 23-004. The applicant is Gunks Holding Corporation. Tax Pat Morsel number 6256-04594281 at 1556 Route 52, General Business District, 0.35 acres. The applicant is requesting the following area variances for the construction of a double-sided monument sign: an area variance of 1 foot 6 inches, where 6 feet tall is the maximum allowed in the GB zoning district. Also an area variance of 28.6 square feet, 14.3 square per side, where 40 square feet, 20 per side, is the maximum allowed in the general business zoning district. Said variances will result in a 7 foot 6 inch tall sign, 68.6 square feet, double-sided. Said requests are in violation of Town of Fishkill Town Code 150-43 signs, permanent signs within other districts. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed. Okay, the public hearing is opening. You would like to just give us a little update on where we're at?
Yeah, so I submitted this visual. We wanted to see the sign placement in relation to the firehouse sign. So I made a little visual of a combined site plans here. So basically, this would help visualize the concerns about the fire trucks leaving the fire station. I don't know, I got this big hand. I guess that'll help with the visuals here, but this is represents a fire truck here. This little dot here, it's not so clear on my screen, but this is our proposed ID sign set 15 feet back from the road. There we go. So that if any truck that's pulling out of the firehouse, I do understand this is a signalized, I guess, entry onto 52 for the firehouse. So they do have control of that intersection if there is any concern about our sign blocking view from people driving west down Route 52, seeing the emergency apparatus pulling out. I don't believe that's an issue. There's a direct line of sight about 1,000 feet into the intersection of Route 82. This is approximately 270 feet from the intersection of Westview Drive to the firehouse sign. And based on the visual, the ability of people to read signs as they're driving by at approximately 45 miles per hour, the effective distance for letters that are approximately 6 inches tall is about 60 feet. So with a maximum readability of about 300 feet. So that puts the people coming westbound, being able to see the firehouse sign after they've essentially passed our ID sign is the general, I guess, readability of the firehouse sign. So hopefully that'll alleviate any concerns that there's a visibility issue being caused by our sign, our proposed sign, to the firehouse sign.
Does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
I do. I'm sorry, the hand is really throwing me. So the red rectangle is the firehouse sign.
That's it's a representing of a fire truck.
Oh, okay, all right, I see. And so I thought the scale was awfully off, like it was, so that, where, is it the middle finger, like the pointer finger?
This is like a Frankenstein hand here.
So that's the firehouse sign?
That's the sign, correct.
And then your sign, please, if you, okay.
It's right there.
And so that is and it's hard for me to see, that is along the road, or it's a 15, you said that's a 15-foot setback?
Right, from our property line. It's roughly
Okay.
about, which is roughly lines up with Route 52, I think the white line somewhere.
Like, if it were the edge of your property, how far into the
Oh,
property?
it's 15 feet
It-
off of our
So
property
it's
line.
15 from the edge?
Correct.
So it's going in towards 15 feet, okay,
Correct.
all right, I just wanted to make sure of that. Okay, I can see that now. Oh, yes, that is also helpful. Can we see the sign again?
Yes.
All right, how tall is that guy?
Roughly 6 foot, I'm assuming.
Okay, okay. Are we, like, commenting on this now, or are we going?
Sure, if you have any comments, you
comment?
make your comments now, and then we'll move on to the
Okay.
next person.
And I just, you know, I do have another question here. So it looks like you are increasing it 20 square feet per side, so it's much wider, because the height doesn't really bother me,
Right.
but in conjunction with the width, and, I mean, that's a massive sign. And my thought is, it really is setting a precedence, because the other signs on that road, and, okay, so let me, it doesn't bother me in perspective of that there's residences, you know, that it might bother them, or late at night, or the, you know,
Right.
the lighting and everything, which also I am curious if you're gonna be dimming that, you know, that is, because if it is, it's lit within, right? Wasn't that what you were approaching, or are you
Correct,
now
yeah.
lighting for, okay. So, for me personally, again, with wildlife and having lights in the middle of the night, when really on 52, there's not a lot of people traveling, that is of interest to me. It doesn't bother me as far as the brightness in relation to residences, but I am concerned about setting precedents for all of those other signs of the businesses that'll come after you.
Right, right. So there's no other, I believe there's other internally illuminated signs along that road. I don't know if there's, I mean, there should be a foot candle
Right.
allowance for that, but our signs aren't blaring, they're internally illuminated, so it's kind of a softer glow. It's not more of a, like an in the face, like nothing that'll distract the driver's kind of brightness. But
Okay.
I understand about
Yeah,
you know,
'cause-
keeping lights on at night, you know, obviously, but the brightness level from these signs is nothing that's gonna be, you know, out of context for the area, given that there are other businesses on that stretch of road.
Well, and there's not, you know, it's not off of 84. I guess I'm kind of envisioning, I think it's in LaGrange, when you come off of the Taconic, it's like you can
Right.
see it, you know. Even I wouldn't get lost finding that gas station. So that is something that just bears to mind for me personally.
Isabel?
No.
Oh, Johnny, I'm sorry, way down there on the end. Any comments?
No, you know, last time we met, one of my hurdles was pulling into the lot and them not being able to see getting out, or the other cars turning in,
Right.
heading west on 52. So but
Right.
it seems like we've resolved that issue.
Right, yeah.
So I don't, you know, I don't.
Isabel?
No.
Nothing? But I just want to say, myself, thank you. I mean, I think your original submission was bigger.
Yeah.
Right, so you downsized roughly to the size of the fire department sign, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a big thing, you know, you did, and you handled the sightline distances that we asked you to do, and that seemed to look pretty good.
Right.
As far as that, I mean, I don't really have any other questions. Let's see if Doug has any.
Okay, is that in line with the existing sign?
It's
Where the existing
it's
sign
set
is now?
further back.
No, no, it's set further back, but I'm talking about the line. It's just set further back from where that existing sign is?
Oh, as far
Or
as,
is it over to the right or
No,
left?
the location
He's talking this
changes,
way.
yeah.
yeah, if you're looking at the property, it'll be to the right, approximately 50 feet. That existing sign is where our new entry is going to be to the site.
Okay, and I know that gas station closes at night. Will the sign go off when the gas station closes?
I could check into that as far as hours of operation for the
Because
gas
I know
station.
Odd Job shuts theirs off at night. I actually wonder why, because it kind of seems a little desolate there, because their streetlights aren't very good.
Right,
But that was my only concern.
okay.
Kathy?
I too appreciate you taking down the size and that the sight lines are there. I think it's an elegant sign, and it's much better than what's already in place, which is completely elevated in a way because it is so much higher, seems quite bigger. So this is, to me, even though the size is a little bigger, it's in a way a little smaller than what's currently there, so, and a much better look, so I'm fine.
I think that pretty much matches the fire department sign, doesn't it, as far as dimensions?
Yeah, we took their dimensions.
Oh, you took their dimensions, okay.
Pretty, yep, yep.
I was going to ask if there's anybody from the public that has any questions, but I don't see anybody out there. So,
Joel?
Mr. Public? No? Okay. All right, so I guess maybe we could have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Public hearing is closed. David, where do we go from here?
So, you got there's a letter from the county, county planning. They recommended a denial based upon a recommended reduction in the size. I'm sure you've all seen the letter, right? So, if you wanted to approve it as a board, you'd have to get a majority plus one, a supermajority, to override and have a reason for overriding. And if not, then, you know, a simple majority will not equal an approval under these circumstances.
So we would need 4 to 1,
You need 4 to 1.
at least.
Right, and, you know, if you'd like, maybe you should just go through the factors that you all have in front of you and see, you know, engage in the balancing test and see where everybody kind of stands on it. And then we can, once we have a good idea on how everybody views these 5 factors in the balancing test, then we can figure out exactly what kind of motion might be appropriate.
Okay. You want to take us through those factors? if you don't
Can
mind?
I'm sorry, I do have one other question. So before we do the factors and everything, and I know Doug had a question about the lighting, and I have a question about the lighting. If we vote on this, then essentially it's done, and you can move forward with it. So, you know, again, I just want to voice that is a concern of mine, is to have it brightly lit. I'm not saying not lit, but, you know, it should be dimly lit after hours. So,
Right.
you know, can you give us an assurance that that is something that you will take care of?
Right, I believe the code is something along the lines of a half a foot candle at the property line.
Okay.
We could put that in the resolution there.
We could put conditions on it if we pass
Yeah, I
it.
mean, that is, because again, I don't find it egregious, I don't find that it's outlandish for the area. If you were, you know, in a residential neighborhood, I would say, you know, let's get back to the drawing board, but that is a concern of mine, so.
Okay.
So just jumping in on that, you know, if the board ends up inclined to grant, but with a condition insofar as the lighting is concerned, I've not looked at the code in terms of what requirements the code has for lighting. Joel, do we have any idea what the current code is on lighting on this sign? What would be permitted? And is that, you know, and maybe we can have a discussion about whether that's enough to satisfy the concerns or not.
The foot candles being mentioned are lower than what we usually are.
Oh, they are lower. Okay, so what you're providing is already lower. Okay.
Right.
So is there a specific proposal? Is it part of the plan that you've submitted, the foot candles that you're proposing?
We didn't do any photometrics on this sign, but they, you know, based on past projects, they don't throw out very much light at all. So it's not really a concern of ours, so we just want to make sure that if it is alleviating concerns, that we put it in writing. So if we want to follow the code, every town has a different code, we'll be happy to follow the code for the town.
That I take it the fire department sign is in compliance with code? right? Is everybody satisfied with that? Then that kind of guides us to say, a fair condition would be obviously compliance with all, all town code provisions, including those regarding lighting. So, so if you like, I can, if you're good, I can
You do a
kind
good job with
of
that.
step you through the balancing test and the factors. So it's a balancing test weighing the benefit to the applicant against any possible detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the community by a grant of the variances, and it's guided by the 5 factors. The first one is whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties by the grant of the area variance. Does anybody have any comments on that? Does anybody feel strongly that it would cause a detriment or feel that it would not?
No. I
I
don't-
feel it would not.
Okay. Next factor is whether whether there's a viable, feasible alternative. Anybody have any comments or want to discuss that?
I think we kind of went through pretty much
Yeah.
the changes
We
that
kind
they
of say
made.
there's always an
I think we're satisfied.
alternative, but
Yeah, okay. Whether the variances sought are substantial. And keep in mind, substantiality, each one of these factors is not itself determinative. It's all part of the matrix that you're in the balancing test. So, substantiality is, something could be substantial in numbers, but not necessarily be so substantial that it requires a denial,
Personally, I think it's a little bit substantial, but from where we started out to where we are now, I think we're fine.
Yeah, and like I said, compared to a raised sign, it's
Yeah,
lower
I agree
in
with that.
profile, so it does appear smaller than what's existing.
Okay. If this next factor is whether there be any adverse impact on the environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
No, I don't think so.
we're just talking about the sign.
The sign,
Okay.
yes, the sign, the side, the variances, with the variances, the size of the sign, the height and the square footage, would it cause a negative impact on the physical or environmental conditions? I mean, that's a tough one, given the fact that I guess the planning board has already issued a neg deck, but I don't know that the sign was included in that, so, but I don't know, does anybody feel like there's any detriment of that
I don't.
nature? And then the last one is whether it's self-created.
They were all self-created.
Yes.
really.
So,
Do we really need that number 5 in there?
yeah, in an area variance context, they're few and far between where they're not self-created, that's true. Those are the 5 factors. Sounds like everybody is in favor of a grant. Does anybody have any misgivings, or, are there 2 or more people here that are not in favor of? Right, so it seems like a motion to grant on all our usual conditions, including compliance with all town code provisions, also to include lighting, obviously, would be the motion, and the motion would also be included to override the county's recommended denial. And the basis for that, is when you've overridden in the past, I would imagine that it's really based upon the fact that to me, I don't see that the county has actually applied the same balancing test and the 5 factors, at least they don't indicate that they have.
Right.
And you disagree with them, and in light of your duty under Town Law Section 267B, that it is, you'd like to override that denial. And if that's the case, we don't have to embody all that in the motion. You can direct counsel to prepare that and embody that, but the motion would be to approve the variances sought on the conditions stated, compliance with all laws, rules, and regulations, and payment of all fees, et cetera, all the usual conditions, and to override the county for the reasons stated.
Can we get somebody to make that motion?
You could just say, make that
Not if we
motion.
have to repeat.
You could just say, so moved, so moved is fine. So moved is fine. That's why I'm going through it, to give you the opportunity to say, so moved.
So moved.
I could have done that close.
Can I get a second?
I got a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I guess we'll have to do a roll call on that? Or we,
No, we got all 5 ayes.
Okay, great.
Right, the record will reflect all, it was unanimous. And then if you could entertain a motion to direct council to prepare the
Motion to
resolution.
direct council to prepare the resolution.
And to authorize the chairman or the acting chairman to sign it if it's
And
consistent
to
with
authorize
the
the chairman
proceedings
or
tonight.
acting chairman to sign it.
Okay, there's the motion.
that's the
Second.
motion, second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good day today, huh?
Yeah, short and sweet, so.
It's always
Appreciate your
good.
Patience and compliance.
Hey, I
Yes,
understand,
thank
yep.
you.
Have a good evening.
Thanks for working with us. Okay, we approved the minutes, we took care of that. I guess the next zoning board of appeals meeting is scheduled for November 21st. Submission deadline of Tuesday, October 31st by 2:30 PM. Anybody else have anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed.
Work of art.
Quick.